Hello, good afternoon. Many people are saying today, Happy Jamhuri Day, and I'm saying it's not yet Jamhuri. I don't think I'm alone. I think there are many of us who are saying not yet Jamhuri. And the reason is this: we believe that the struggle is continuing, that the struggle continues, Aluta Continua. And speaking on my behalf, I believe that because Kenya is not yet a republic, it is a blend between an oligarchy and a dictatorship. Now, a dictatorship is one man who rules the entire country and has total power over it. An oligarchy is a group of people who have power over it. So it's kind of like we're in between the two. This one man has a lot of power, but then there are these other people who have some amount of power such that this person cannot do everything that he wishes he'd want to do, right? So that, I believe, is our situation in Kenya. I hope that we're together. So my key points for today, right? We have lost sight of the vision of Jamhuri. We have lost sight of it somewhere along the road. We lost sight of it. Political leadership is a preserve of the rich. That means only a certain class of people can ascend to power, and the poor have no say in governance. They are only to be dictated to, not to dictate, right? And that's why my title is, they say Jamhuri Day, I say not yet Jamhuri. Aluta Continua. The struggle continues. Now, today is 12th December, and it's a commemoration of 12th December 1964, when we gained independence, right? Because in December 1963, we had gained internal self-rule. We could rule ourselves internally. Like, the president was the Minister for Home Affairs at that time, just to, But when we became a republic in 1964, that means we could do things on our own, externally and internally. And the Swahili word Jamhuri, it means republic. And that's why I say Kenya is not a republic, because the vision of Jamhuri was for Kenya to become a republic, right? Just to a few pointers. Australia is a dominion. I think it's a realm of the United Kingdom, right? Of the British Empire. Canada is a realm of the British Empire. Jamaica, I think, is a dominion of the British Empire, but I'm not sure if it's a realm or dominion. But we have a difference, such that the Queen is not our head of state. We are a republic. At that time, we gained the status of a republic, but then we lost sight of our vision. And just to let me give an overview of today, what I call extras, right? Just a few points of note. I noticed that the military heads, the top brass, were there at Jamhuri Park, and then the president was also there, and the deputy vice president. And I'm thinking, what if something bad happens, right? What would happen then? I remember that the US, what they have is what they call a chain of command. It's like 15 people. If the president dies, the deputy president, the attorney general, and all the chief, as in it goes down, and they cannot all be in the same place at once. Example, like 9/11, when the attacks started coming in, they took all those guys in the chain of command and they put them in different areas, so that if this guy gets hit, this guy will take over. If this guy gets hit, this guy will take over, all the way to 15 people. And in Kenya, we have everybody in one place. Me, I'm thinking that's a security risk, but I'm not sure. I'm not a security expert, right? But I think that's dangerous, and I don't think we should do that. So anyway, from Uhuru's speech, these are the positive developments that I got. The rank of doing business, Kenya improved. He actually used the words, we were one of the most improved. So I think that's good. I don't think that's a lie, because he quoted the World Bank. The World Bank lies, but I don't think it lied in this case. Collaboration with governments to bring our money back. Like this is a story been going around how the Jersey government is helping us to bring our money back, fast freezing, and then now helping to repatriate that cash back to Kenya. So I think that's a good step. Uhuru is going after corruption. I believe that he's really fighting corruption. So I think that's good. Yeah, waiting for prosecutions, right? Right now we have big fishes being arrested, taken to court, but still waiting for the prosecutions, because that's why it matters. And then one more thing, Uhuru said, a single university to 60 universities. I think that's a good thing. That means more people can access the university education today than they could in 1963. So positive developments. I'm going to go into other areas, so please don't say that I'm being biased. I'm just being objective. I have mentioned the positive developments. Now let's go to the first point. We have lost sight of the vision of Jamhuri, right? What did these guys fight for during independence? Why were they fighting? Why were the Mau Mau in the forest? Why were they fighting? Why was Mekatilili fighting down at the coast? Why were these people fighting? Right? They fought so that we could gain our independence, so that we could gain our republic. And again, the word republic, it comes from the Jamhuri means republic. Republic comes from the Roman, two words in Latin, res republica, right? Res means public, publica means a matter of the public, right? So res republica, it means that the government is no longer a private concern. It's not a concern of the queen. It's not a concern of the queen's agents. It's a concern for everybody. It's a public matter, and we should all be interested in it, right? And should take part in it, and it should do as we command, not as some other private body commands, right? So I'm hoping that we get that on. That is what they fought for, in my opinion, right? And just to give an example, like when Dedan Kimathi, when he was about to execute him, right, they brought his wife secretly to where he was, and he spoke with his wife for some time, and the wife gave an account of what he said, and he said that he has done no crime, even though the British want to execute him. He has done no crime, right? His only crime, as per what the British think, is that he was trying to liberate Kenya. He was trying to bring about independence in our country. But he said this, he'll die in peace. Why? Because whatever he did, it would just like God, my blood will water the tree of independence, right? So ask yourself today, has that blood watered the tree of independence? Look around in Kenya today, has it done that? So one of the examples that Uhuru gives today was that they have built there was one national hospital in around 1963, right? Right now we have 6 national hospitals, right? So that's how many years? More than 55 years. And we've built 5 extra national hospitals. So that's one hospital every 11 years. That's one hospital after every decade. Is that honoring the blood of Dedan Kimathi? Personally, I don't think so, because in 1963 our population was 8 million, right? So there's one national hospital per 8.9 million people, right? Right now we're at around 49 to 50 million, and we have 6 national hospitals. So that means there's one hospital for every 8.48 million people. So in 1963 we had one for 8.9. Right now we have one for 8.4. Have we honored his blood? Right? And I wanted to give another example. When Julius Caesar, when there was a civil war in Rome, right, when he was coming from Gaul, and the Senate told him, do not cross the Rubicon. That was like the boundary into Rome, and they knew that if he crossed the Rubicon it would be war, and that he would take over the empire. Sorry, he would take over the republic. At that time it was a republic. And so they told him to leave his army and to come back to Rome. He was going there. They wanted him to face trial for disobeying the Senate in Gaul. That's Gaul is modern France. So Caesar, what he did was that he crossed the Rubicon, and as he crossed it, immediately crossed it, he said, the die has been cast, because everybody knew as soon as he crossed it, it was war. And that's how Caesar came and built the republic, right? That's how he killed the republic and built the empire. And there's something that I want you guys to, when it comes to the show of military force, right? People did not take it as a joke. They did not take it as a joke. You were not to move into Rome, crossing the Rubicon with an army. You were to move as a civilian. They wanted you to come into Rome as a civilian, into Roman territory as a civilian, right? And when you look at the CIA, in the Secret Service in the US, they do not have these military displays. They don't have it. Because the CIA, if you look, even the ones who protected Obama when he came, right? When you looked at them, they didn't have like AK-47s. They didn't have green camouflage military attire. They didn't have that. Why? Because the idea is for a sensible government, the idea is to reduce the military showmanship, right? And to increase the civilian oversight of the country, such that when you look at that person, that is a civilian just like me. You are not intimidated by the military attire, by the power that he has. You have to listen to his reason. You have to come to the Senate and talk to them, right? But in Africa, we do things a bit differently, and that's why Uhuru had military gear over him, right? And I wanted just to add another thing. When it comes to, there's a difference between African and the other guys. Like Alexander the Great, he was a military guy. He actually went to his people in war. It was the phalanx in the middle, the companions and his the companions, that's Alexander and his companions. They were the cavalry, and on this side you'd have, I think it was Parmenius, right, with the infantry to protect the phalanx, right, the phalanx formation. And Alexander would charge immediately when he saw an opportunity open, and that's how he got the respect of his men. You don't get the respect of your men by wearing military fatigue. You don't do that, right? If you're not a military guy, that's okay, right? If you didn't fight there, that's okay. In wars and everything, they should respect you because of your reason. Like most of the senators, they were not military guys. Under the republic, most of the guys who ascended to the consul and proconsul, they were not military guys, right? You don't have to force things. Just let it be. Reduce the military showmanship, right? Increase civilian oversight. That's the essence of a republic, where we have control over our affairs. That we are not intimidated by somebody with power. It's not a private concern. So anyway, that's it. I wanted to ask a question, right? If we had control over affairs, what would we ask for, right? If you had control over your, let's say, your money, what would you ask for? Would you want to go to a hospital, a public hospital, for free, or would you want to go to a private hospital with good services for free, right? Public hospitals, it's highly unlikely that they ever have good services for free, because the government is inefficient. It has always been inefficient. It should always be inefficient, right? Because people, the accountability there is less. But a private sector, somebody who wants your money and he knows that without good services he won't give you money, then you'll find good services there. So again, I wanted to ask, did Dedan Kimathi fight for free services? Did he fight for free primary education? Did he fight for free secondary education? Did he fight for free healthcare? He fought for independence. How can you gain independence when somebody is giving you stuff? That is not independence. Back in the day, during Dedan Kimathi, when he was young, or let's say his father, they used to farm on their own. You would go to your medicine doctor, right, or herbalist, with your own finances. This idea of the government providing services, that came with the colonialists. That came with the collaborators. And that's a way of putting us down, because our freedom fighters did not fight for that. That is not a republic. A republic is where you have control over your resources, right? And the resources are in your pocket. You don't put them somewhere there and then now people can decide what you can do with them. Independence, the tree of blood, that's what he fought for. So anyway, just not to dwell on that a lot, Uhuru says that we are fighting, he wants to fight poverty, ignorance and disease, which his father also said. And so I'm asking, right, because he one of the quotes that I saw from the this one I didn't hear specifically, but I saw one of the television stations, is that Uhuru says we aim for a bigger cake. Now, wasn't that the kind of ignorance that they use to bring about tribalism? The cake talk, that there is enough cake. Again, Independence means that you're baking your own cake. Everybody is able to bake his own cake, like we did in the past. We used to farm our own farms, right? This idea of somebody giving us cake, that came with the colonialists, and they only brought it so that they could steal from us. And we need to go back to who we were, how we were, and we were not this way. Uhuru also says that he wants housing units built enough, right? And he wants secure materials, the people to secure materials locally. So I'm thinking, again, we're trying to fight ignorance, right? You want to build housing units for as many people as possible, but you're dictating where these people will get their resources, right? Again, it's not a private concern. No one person, even in military gear, should tell you where you'll get your resources for doing something, right? A private enterprise. You should have control over your own affairs. And the problem with this is that you'll buy locally because cement is very expensive in Kenya, and other materials are very expensive in Kenya. So eventually the house will be too expensive for the poor. And here, what you're saying is that you're trying to build houses for the poor. You cannot eat your cake and have it, right? Let the private sector do its thing. They will see that the poor have a need. They will feed that need. That's the essence of the invisible hand. It moves and it benefits everyone. Private sector, he wants it to make it competitive, and then he brings universal healthcare, right? The doctors, they train for years to go to become doctors. They train for years. And then you're given free services for this kind of training. You do not train so that the person can come to you free, right? That's not how you train. And then you can say that the government will pay, but the government is us, so we're the ones who are paying, right? And then in terms of now making the private sector competitive, remember that Israel is kind of like a tourist destination. It's a health tourist destination. We have Cuba is a tourist health destination. You know, I think Germany also, all of these countries, right? And we are in competition amongst them, and we must bring efficiency into our country. We cannot bring efficiency into this country when the government controls the healthcare sector. It cannot be done. Our focus should be, again, the colonists brought this idea of bringing stuff to the people so that they can steal and they can rule over us. The focus should be giving these people enough finances so that they can pay for their own, not giving them enough finances, but moving aside so that they can make enough money, and after they make enough money, they can pay for as much healthcare as possible. For those who cannot pay for that healthcare as much as possible, the church is failing, but it's supposed to handle that kind of thing, right? There are mechanisms within society to handle that kind of thing. Government is not supposed to be in this, right? And again, Dedan Kimathi and the others did not fight for this. At no point did he ever say that he wanted free healthcare or free education. Okay, I don't think he said free education, right? I believe that he fought for independence so that we can return to the way we were. We were independent people. We used to farm our own farms, and we used to have our own things. And this is not it. This is not what we had. Now, the political leadership is a preserve of the rich. Again, the colonialists came, they gave the collaborators a lot of wealth, exchange for gifts. The collaborators, they got also power positions, and then the collaborators, they had sons and daughters and all of those things. And that's how it's been moving, right? And the philosophy behind that was divide and rule. Give these people, he'll oppress his own people, and then he'll have a small clique of people who will support him in case of any trouble. That's how it is, and that's how it was. And we'd never have that. Our elders were respectable people who had values. They did not care about money. So anyway, Kenyatta, he's the son of Wambui and Muigai. Now this guy is Muigai. There's no indication that he was a chief, but there's an indication that he was a rich guy, right? And he had many wives. And then he had now, of course, Kenyatta, right? And Kenyatta went to school, again, education. I'll touch on that. He went to school because of that. And then afterwards, when Kenyatta went to school, a funny story, a missionary Kenyatta wanted to get a job, employment, but the missionary refused to recommend him. Why? Because the missionary felt that Kenyatta was dishonest. There's an actual case of dishonesty that the missionary was pointed to, but I do not have the details on that dishonesty. So again, perhaps the missionary, he had a problem with Kenyatta, I don't know. But again, it could be that Kenyatta was dishonest from the start. And perhaps the Mamau learned that a bit too late. Right? Perhaps that's the person who lost our vision of Jamhuri, our vision of independence, of having control over our affairs. Right? So that's a bit of a story about Kenyatta, and that would education, how it gets you to power. So another research, very interesting research. According to the Association for Advancement of Higher Education and Development, entry to university is mostly based upon your socio-economic background. It matters a lot when you get into university. And this is what they said. They did a research in Nairobi University. 84% of the students from there, they came from high income potential areas. 84%. That's more than half. That's more than 3/4. They came from high potential areas, high income potential areas, right? So basically what he's saying is that the rich are the ones who are getting education. Kenyatta was from a rich family. He got education. And what happened after that education? He became the president, right? And what does education do to you? Again, there's an argument by the missionaries that he was dishonest, right? So moving ahead, in terms of education, you don't have to be honest. If you take the missionaries' word, right? You don't have to be honest. But we say that our leaders, like the governors and the presidents and the deputy presidents, they must have a university degree. And here we're seeing that the university is basically for the rich. And we are putting political officers that you must have a university degree. So we're kind of like zoning that area for rich people. And I wanted to ask this one. Dedan Kimathi, right? Did he have a degree? But he still fought. Mekatilili, did she have a degree? But she still fought. So where does this idea of degrees come from? It comes from the same idea where government is giving you stuff, from the need to rule these people, because you already know that education is a preserve for the rich, and you already know that these people, the rich, would use that education to tell the people that you need this, 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 I'll give it to you. Perfect way of ruling the people. Not yet Jamhuri. We don't have control over our private affairs, and this is an example. In the US, George Washington, the first president of the United States, did not have a college degree. Abraham Lincoln did not have a college degree. Are you telling me that this man could not lead? It's a lie. They could lead. Another example, Genghis Khan, he was brought up in a system, and he suffered under that system where only the aristocracy, the rich, well-educated people could, the nobles, could ascend to power, and military position. And Genghis Khan said that is foolishness. We will move by merit. And that is how Genghis Khan built the largest empire in terms of territory in the world ever known to man. Focus on certain things does not work. Focus on education, focus on nobility doesn't work. You need to focus on people, on the merit of the person. Is the person capable? Is the person honorable? Like Genghis Khan, he hated disloyal people. Somebody betrayed one of his enemies to him, and Genghis Khan killed the betrayer, even though the betrayer helped him by killing his enemy, because he could not stand betrayers. He looked at the character, and that is how he built a great empire. That's what I'm saying. So the sons of the puppets are now our masters. And the sons of the puppets are who? You all know them. You guys know. This guy was the son of Mudavadi, was the son of somebody. Eugene Amwala is a son of somebody. Raila Odinga is a son of somebody. Uhuru Kenyatta is a son of somebody. Most of the people are sons of somebody, right? And that is the oligarchy. The small class of people who are controlling the nation, but there's that one person who has ultimate control at the top. So Uhuru, just another example, right? I remember that Uhuru went to the Uhuru went to CBK yesterday, right? And he withdrew some coins, and then he gave people coins. They had done no work, but he gave them coins. And I thought that was symbolic of what happens in Kenya. They're giving away our wealth. These people have done no work, but they're giving away our wealth. That's what I thought. The commendations given, again, the US has 46 million people who have served in the US military. Only 3,600 have received the Medal of Honor. In Kenya, we're giving away commendations like it's cake. Somebody eats the githeri, you get a commendation, right? We're making them useless because we do not have control over our own affairs. The commendations, they're controlled by somebody. The educated. And the educated come from who? The rich. And the rich came from who? From the collaborators. Are you feeling me? So anyway, I've never seen a US general who has weight. I saw generals who had weight in Kenya today. Raila sat next to Kalonzo. These guys are friends. They're not enemies. It was good that everybody was there. That was a summary of Kenya's problem. If you want to know Kenya's problems, where they are there. So anyway, Uhuru says that he wants to transform Kenya from transforming Kenya from poverty takes more than one leader, and they need to unite for purpose. We must not betray the trust of the guys who went before us. And our nation has new enemies and new threats. That's true. We have new enemies and new threats. And who are they? They're the sons of the collaborators. Those are our new enemies and they are new threats. Why? Because they lost that vision of Jamhuri. When Dedan Kimathi and the others, they united for purpose, for freeing us, for bringing us independence. These guys are uniting to share posts, to distribute posts, right? They don't care about us, the youth. We are here, we are many. They're not mobilizing us to participate in the economy. They're just distributing posts. 91-year-old just got a post the other day. 91-year-old, born in 1928. Others born in, born in 1980s, they don't have jobs. Born in 1990s, they don't have jobs. But a 90-year person born in 1928 has a job. So I believe that they're betraying us, and that's why we are not moving to prosperity. We have lost that vision that we had. So the last point, at certain times, a rich person, like John F. Kennedy was from a rich family, and he got into office, right? So a rich person being in office, it does not mean that he'll just steal or he'll oppress the poor, right? Uhuru is trying to fight corruption, that I agree, right? I don't believe that he's doing, on the other things he's doing enough, and even on the corruption, I believe that he could push a bit more, right? So it doesn't mean that a rich person is a bad person, right? And this is what Plato said. Plato said that the philosophers, either the kings become philosophers or the philosophers become kings, right? But if you don't have somebody ruling with philosophy in his mind, and that philosophy, it's reason in his mind, then the nation would never be stable. The republic would never be stable. And that's what I'm saying here. And I'm saying that the poor have no say in governance. That even when we try to reason with the rich, we can't reason with them because they don't care. The Lamu project is ongoing. The poor are trying to reason with them. Turkana oil was ongoing. It's a fight for those people to have their resources. Titanium mining, are those people benefiting from those resources? Nairobi National Park, they just moved a railway, I think, inside the park. They didn't care. They just, Karura Forest, they're shaving it off. They don't care. Again, we don't have control over our public affairs. Why? Because what Dedan Kimathi and others fought for, that independence, that freedom to decide our own things, we never got it. We lost that vision. Somebody stole it, the collaborators and the sons of the collaborators. So anyway, another example is that they increased their salaries without caring. That's the MPs. They increased taxes, like the fuel levy the other day, and they know the impact that it will have on the economy, but they increased it. And why they increased it? Because they took some money from China, they took some money from the IMF, and now they have to pay back, or they have to make assurances that they'll pay back. And did that money benefit us? Did it benefit us? It did not, because we do not have control over our public affairs. We are not a republic. Not yet Jamhuri. So anyway, again, that's what happened in Russia, and the people revolted, right, against the Tsars, and it was a very bloody revolt. The French, they did that. It's a very bloody revolt. When the poor do not have a say in government. It simmers, and then it boils up, right? And that's why I keep telling people we need the middle class, right? We need the middle class, because if the poor have the support of the middle class, right, then it would avert any kind of violent revolution. It's very easy to avert that kind of thing, and it's possible. No one has to, not even one person has to die for there to be a revolution, right? Because it's a revolution of the minds and hearts. That does not require any bullet. It just requires philosophy and people to accept reason, right? So just trying to finish up, without a say in the use of our resources, the government is a private affair, not a public one, and as such, we are not a republic. We are a blend between a dictatorship and an oligarchy, right? And I wanted to give this example. There's a verse in the in the Bible. It says, "By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, we wept as we remembered Zion, and they asked us to sing a song, a praise song in a strange land." So behind it was the Jews were in Babylon, and here are your captives, and they're asking you to sing songs of praise. They're asking you to be happy, even though you are captive in Babylon. Right now we are captive. We're not a republic. We do not have control over our affairs, and they're asking us to sing a song of how Kenya is great. By the rivers of Babylon. They say that young people should know that Kenya was not handed a silver platter. We know that. Who betrayed us? It is not us. It's not the young people who are in NYS, who are in Afya Center stealing, in the education ministry stealing. It's not us young people. The sons of the collaborators, they're still here. And like, what do we do, mama? They're still here. We can see them. Give us a sign, mama. We moved from sessional paper number 10 to Vision 2030 to the Big Four, to the 2010 Constitution, to the Big Four. Nothing changes. Why? Because it's all a game. It's all a game. Nothing changes because it's all a game. Kenya is the biggest and most diverse economy in Eastern Africa. Are we supposed to sing songs of praises? We're still here captive. We're living in poverty, where we do not have jobs. We cannot enter the formal sector. KRA is coming after us, and we do not have anything to pay. What will happen? So these are the points that I had for today. And I'm hoping that we can see how the vision of Jamhuri was lost. How the vision of those who fought for our independence was lost. That political leadership is a preserve of the rich, and the poor have no say in governance. And we need to start having our say in governance. And we need to have a revolution of the hearts and of the minds. Either the philosophers become kings, or the kings become philosophers. We can do this without anybody being hurt, without anybody suffering. And it's possible, and we will do it. So that's what I had for you today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.